Welcome, friends, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans, and we appreciate you joining us for episode 16. I am your host, representing the old school wrestling fan, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Andy.
I'm also your host, the No Selling Wrestling Indie fan, Jeremy.
All right, guys, today we got another great show for you. We're going to be covering Roman Reigns firing Paul Heyman, AJ Styles and Omos breaking up, Kyle O'Reilly debuting on AEW, and more. But first, right now, like and subscribe to the PW Fan on YouTube, where we have full episodes available and coming soon, video, so you can watch us along as you listen. Please leave a review on iTunes, and now you can also leave us a 5-star review on Spotify. That would mean so much. For t-shirts, please go to prowrestlingtees.com/thepwfan to get your pocket logo shirt. And we also want to thank Craig Smith from One Stop Wrestling for being today's sponsor. All right, Andy, let's start the show. You know what to do. You're up.
Alrighty, I want to start with a SmackDown from the 17th. Just two things I really want to talk about. One I just found kind of funny. There was a Happy Corbin segment. I believe it was his Happy Talk show that he does. And, well, SmackDown that week was in Chicago. So what do you expect to happen? There was CM Punk chants all throughout the segment. So I just thought that, that was kind of funny.
Do you get annoyed with that?
Do I?
I'm one of those people who I actually find that amusing. Just because it's WWE,
I find it funny.
Yeah.
Even before he came back to wrestling, I always found it funny.
Yeah.
Because they try their best to ignore it and not be bothered by it.
Yeah. It's like a fire that's gradually getting bigger and they're just ignoring it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely Chicago for you.
The main part I wanted to talk about from SmackDown, though, was the final segment of the night. We had Roman Reigns doing an in-ring segment with Paul Heyman. And Roman, towards the end of the segment, says, "Why are you protecting Brock Lesnar from me?" And Paul Heyman says, "I'm not protecting Brock Lesnar from you. I'm protecting you from Brock Lesnar." Roman Reigns then brings Paul Heyman in for a hug and thanks him for his years of service to his family. And they says, "But you're fired." And then he proceeds to Superman punch Paul Heyman. Not long after that, he puts Paul Heyman on the ground, on top of his head on top of a chair, and it looks like he's about to give him a concerto. All of a sudden, Brock Lesnar's music hits. Brock takes out the Usos, and he gives an F5 to Roman Reigns, saving Paul Heyman. It also would be, it should be mentioned that Roman Reigns had a new shirt, and if anyone had ever or had remembered hearing about how a couple months ago he said CM Punk never moved the needle, well, his new shirt is like a speedometer, and it says needle mover on it. But I thought this segment was awesome. I'm still a really big fan of this Roman and the Brock Lesnar storyline he has going on, and this is like a changing of tides kind of thing with the storyline. What you guys think?
Yeah, I'll say the same thing we said last week, that the stuff with Heyman, Roman, and Brock is just so much better than anything else on the show right now. And I laughed when I saw Roman's shirt when he first came out, because I was like, oh, they actually made the shirt. Usually WWE just kind of never capitalizes on that, or they make it too much of a marketing thing. But yeah, I thought that was really funny, and that was a great twist in their storyline just to keep everyone interested, because I think everyone else was kind of seeing that Roman was going to hold on to the title since Brock is kind of here and there. But I mean, now they're changing things up.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it's going to go from here. I'm kind of sad that Heyman and Roman are no longer going to be doing more stuff together as of now. I hope we get to see that maybe again down the road. Brock and Heyman have broken up before, even if it was briefly. So, I guess we'll see. But Roman's work has been great. Brock's great. Everything's been good. So it's weird though that he fired him.
And it's funny, as we're talking about this, you, Tim, are actually wearing the Roman tracksuit top, representing.
I'm weirdly picky with merch. Like you guys were talking about the needle mover shirt. I probably would never wear that, but he put out this track jacket where it's literally all black and just on the chest piece there's a little tiny Roman logo, and I was like, okay, I would wear that. So,
it's almost like a Jordan logo, but it's a Roman logo.
Yeah, I have actually. People at the barbershop are always like, I like your Jordan track jacket. I'm like, it's not Jordan. Actually, what's funny is, and right now this is an audio podcast, but hopefully video soon, so eventually I could show you guys. But it's funny, this is a $50 jacket, right? And then you turn it over here, and it's literally just this like crappy patch that they like sew on there. So basically $50 for a...
Yeah, you were showing me that at Christmas.
I think they just flung these together real quick.
Yeah, they know it will be, they know it will sell. But moving on, we had Rampage that came on right after, and the one thing I wanted to talk about, but I'm not happy about, is Dan Lambert returned to AEW television. He was in the ring with Men of the Year, Cody Rhodes, and interrupts and starts brawling with them. Then Dustin Rhodes comes out, and then finally Sammy Guevara comes out to help. I think it was to make sure Cody was at 100% for their match at the next Rampage afterwards for the TNT Championship. But, we've talked about him before. How do you guys feel about Dan Lambert being back?
I was so disappointed to hear his voice again.
I thought he was finally done after their street fight. And
I was like, well, the one good thing I'll say is that they're not bringing back the MMA people. Like, it's only
for
him.
now. For now.
Yeah, really for now. Yeah, because I guess it's like a never-ending storyline again with AEW. Mm-hmm. So there's only a few of them, and of course it happens to be with Dan Lambert.
Yeah, awful.
I've been pretty vocal. I think he's one of the worst parts of the show. It was funny for like the first 2 times, and then after a while you're like, all right, just tell a different joke,
Yeah, exactly.
And he stays at the same level of it, like when he's delivering a promo, it's like yelling. Just 100% yelling the entire time.
All right. Moving on to Raw, I felt like there were about 2 things on the show really worth mentioning. One is I believe there was a series, like a tag team gauntlet match that they had going on. At one point, AJ and Omos wrestled, but they ended up losing. And if you've been following along, there's been some tension between them. Well, it turns out at the end of the match, AJ and Omos started getting into it, which I guess you could say they have broken up as a team. Omos at the end says, "Next time I see you, it'll be in a ring." I've read online some people thought this was too early for them, but it's kind of like if Tim would know better than me, but breaking up of Shawn Michaels and Diesel back in the day. You had the big guy, or the muscle, I would say, to Shawn, who, you could also say was the more talented one out of the group, and so is AJ. But, what's your guys' thought on AJ and Omos breaking up? Do you think they want to put Omos in a WrestleMania match against AJ and save it till then?
Yeah, it could stretch that long, but I thought it was way too early, like a lot of people were saying. Just because I feel like they had a lot more to do with both of them, like as a tag team. Because there's always going to be that storyline of them, breaking up and then having a match with each other. So.
Well, personally, I do not want to see AJ and Omos at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it somewhere else, but I don't want to see it at Mania.
Yeah. Well, they're not doing it on day 1, then, right? Because that's
no,
really
it hasn't
soon.
been scheduled, and that's next Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't too interested in this storyline to begin with, so I can't say that I'm sad to see AJ going back on his own again and not doing tag stuff and not doing mentor stuff. much prefer him just being straight up in the title picture, especially because we don't know how much longer his run's going to be. Because I mean, he's in his mid-40s now, so I'd like to see him finish strong. But it's cool that he's helping getting younger guys over. I will say, I mean, I'm sure Omos is fine. I've never been a huge big man guy, and I don't mean like big man as in. Okay, like the only two big men I really loved like all their work is, well, I'd say Taker, and then Kane's fun, like Kane in his prime up until like 2005, and then I enjoyed.
Then
Kevin
you have guys
Nash.
like Brock who are big but don't move like
See,
big men.
I would say that's like a different type of big man. There's like tall guys, Andre, Big Show, Kevin Nash, and then there's like super heavyweight guys that can really move. Brock Lesnar, Bam Bam Bigelow. I feel like it's two different types of big men, right? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, one is more agile and athletic.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
And one is kind of like, I don't want to say clunky, but more like Frankensteinish. They just kind of like walk tall and they're more like stiff. Except Taker and Kane they were like a nice combination of both, I'd say. But yeah, just an observation. Like, I don't think I've ever really talked on the show, or Andy. I mean, you're my brother. I don't think we've even really talked about big guys in wrestling. Like, and who's your favorite big man? Like, I've never really sat and thought about it. I'd probably say Taker, Kane in his prime, and I like Nash. He was just cool. Nash had a cool presence, and like Wolfpack era, people don't give the Wolfpack enough credit for how popular it was. It was huge. But keep on going.
Well, speaking of AJ going solo, maybe, I'm crossing my fingers for a feud with him and Edge now. But that takes me into what I want to talk about next, and that was the return of the Cutting Edge on Raw. And Edge's first guest was Maurice, who the week before had slapped Miz across the face for using her as a shield against Edge. This segment, though, ended up being kind of a double cross, and I think either Miz or Maurice threw champagne in Edge's face, and Miz ended up taking him down with, God, what is his finisher called again?
Skull crushing finale.
Yeah, so he took him out with that, and they left Edge in the ring. But yeah, I mean, I've been liking Edge and Miz's segment so far. I think it's one of the better parts of Raw, even though it's no action; it's all just promo work. But yeah, I thought the return of Cutting Edge was worth talking about. I never really saw it too much back in the day. It might have been during my time of a hiatus from professional wrestling, you could say.
Well, it's funny because I know I'm an indie fan, but I love these talking show segments that WWE produces. Whether it's the Cutting Edge or, oh god, what was Jericho's called again?
The highlight reel.
His like talk show.
Oh,
The Geritron 5000.
The highlight reel.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I know these ones are always gonna be like bad, like I don't know. I want to say bad promos, but it's always gonna be like very awkward or very scripted segments. But for some reason, I just always love them.
They can be fun if they're done right. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But then there's some, terrible ones also. Like, I'm not a fan of Happy Talk.
Yeah.
I freaking hate it.
I did like what they did with Ambrose at the time when he did like the plant Mitch when he had his plant with him.
His potty plant, Mitch the potty plant. Yeah.
Now is time for a history lesson with Tim, the old school wrestling fan. So all those segments is it's literally because of the Roddy Piper's Pit. That's the original, and
Yes.
everything that's come after is because of that. Just throwing that out there. There's been some good ones over the years. God, there's been so many. There was Jake the Snake had one. Shawn Michaels had the Heartbreak. What was it? Heartbreak Hotel. Brutus Beefcake had the Barbershop.
Hotel.
Oh God. There's been a bunch. Miz and Morrison had one. The Miz has
Classic
had
Miz TV.
Miz TV. Yeah, there's been, and then a Carlito.
Didn't
Carlito
Christian
Cabana,
have one?
The Peep Show.
Didn't Christian have one? The Peep Show, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot. There's been some funny ones. Brother Love had oh God, I can't remember. Was it the funeral home? I mean, I know Paul Bearer had that, but yeah. So it's just interesting how these type of segments, we haven't seen anything like this on AEW yet, but throughout the WWF WWE history, these type of segments have always been a part of their DNA. It's just interesting. It's just an idea that's always around. Just different hosts over the years.
All right. Moving on, though, I know we don't talk about NXT really anymore, but there's two things I felt like we're talking about. One is, so they have their pay-per-view coming up, which, God, I mean, I know they've used this pay-per-view name before. I still hate it. New Year's Evil.
It's like
for the listeners, everyone is shaking their head right now. But their plan is for Carmelo Hayes to wrestle Roddy Strong to unify the North American and Cruiserweight titles. I think it's an odd unification. What do they call it? I don't know. Because a couple weeks ago, I think they, with Roderick Strong wrestling Joe Gacy for the title, Joe Gacy's whole point was that it's inclusive, so they wanted to make the weight not really matter anymore. So that's what their plan is with those. I didn't know if you guys even watch that anymore or have any thoughts about the unification of those, but for the listeners that do, yeah, I just think it's odd, but we'll see.
I haven't seen any other stuff other than, I think what you're going to cover next is AJ going to NXT.
Yes, so NXT comes on the night after Raw. It comes on Tuesday, so I think it was immediately following Raw they announced AJ was going to show up on NXT 2.0. I want to say this was done for ratings for because of football was on TV, possibly. I think it's just a one-off, I don't expect him to be back, but he came out and because Grayson Waller was quote-unquote calling him out on social media or something. And that was AJ's purpose for being there, apparently. So Grayson Waller's in the ring, just kind of talking shit, saying, one of the things he said, he's like, how's this sound? The phenomenal Grayson Waller. And just shit along those lines. Then AJ's music hits, big pop. Fans, are really happy to see him. And he comes out and he's, talking shit to Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller mentions how AJ just lost his, his muscle, and AJ's older and Grayson's like the new younger talent and all that. But pretty much, I mean, if you watch the segment, AJ went from being a heel on Monday Night Raw to being a face all of a sudden. And I don't know if they're going to keep up with that whole thing when it comes to Raw or not. Maybe he'll still be a heel on there, but he definitely turned into a babyface on NXT 2.0.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. It was like refreshing kind of to see AJ like this.
Well, I remember I texted you guys and you were like, I might actually watch at least that part of NXT this week.
Yeah, but it was like his entrance was cool. Like just seeing him in the NXT arena, like that was just different.
He had popped in before, I believe.
Yeah. Well, he didn't pop in since it went to the 2.0, right?
No. This is the first time on 2.0 for sure. I think he was only on the Black and Gold brand like one time a little while ago. Tim, any thoughts on AJ popping on NXT?
I thought it was cool. I mean, why do you guys think that they chose him to do that? Just to get some ratings?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying, to get some ratings. I think they were competing with football that night.
They had like 2 games on Tuesday just because those were postponed because of the COVID stuff on Sunday.
You had to bring up
football. It was just
football.
like a one-off thing, I think.
You had to bring up football right after the Steelers just got absolutely annihilated and eliminated. Ugh.
Yes,
No.
destroyed.
No, I think it's cool that he did that. It would have been more cool. Would have been a lot cooler if you came back and it was the black and gold brand still, because I feel like there was more match options at the time than there is now. I mean, the only person I really
luckily, I don't think he's going to have any matches.
No. I'm just saying, like, in the event that he actually did something, the only people I'd want to see him work with is probably Tommaso Ciampa or Braun Breaker.
Yeah, I mean, out of the old school now, I think there's only, like, Ciampa left, Roderick Strong, and Pete Dunne.
I was going to say, what's
other...
my boy Pete Dunne been doing? He is totally underutilized.
He's feuding with Tony D'Angelo. The Italian mobster guy that wears the fedora and a tank top and tracksuit pants.
Yeah, I don't.
I haven't even watched NXT in forever, so it sounds so funny to me.
I hate it. I mean, I hate that feud, really. You know, I still watch NXT, but I'm not happy when I do. But can we please move on to Dynamite Holiday Bash Day 1?
No, I think we should only talk about NXT from here on out.
You have to watch it
this
every
podcast
week,
is
Andy.
ending right now. It's been fun talking. So yeah, this past Dynamite was holiday. They call it the Holiday Bash, but it was night 1, and it opened up with a match: Orange Cassidy versus Adam Cole. I don't know if the match was really important to talk about itself, except for the ending, which at the end of the match, Bobby Fish comes out, kind of distracts the ref, and while he's distracting the ref, I don't know if he came from the crowd or he was under the ring, but he appeared in the ring, was Kyle O'Reilly. And I don't remember. Did he took out Orange Cassidy, right? And then Adam got the win?
Yeah, he did that, and then
Okay.
I think, then Adam Cole hit him with his finisher. Or
Yeah.
the boom shot.
So Adam Cole won, and afterwards Kyle O'Reilly attacked Orange Cassidy. Then Trent and Chuck Taylor come out to help Orange Cassidy, but he's taken out. There's Undisputed chants in the crowd. And then the Young Bucks come out, and they're not running out, they're walking slowly, almost like they're confused. And, you get a nice little pose in the ring of the classic Undisputed era. I'm curious what they're going to go by now, if they are going to be in a group, which it seems like they are. But it also seems like there's some tension between the Bucks and Adam's group now. So what's your thoughts, guys? You think maybe we see in a little while the Elite versus whatever Adam is going to call his group with them?
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the dream scenario.
Yep. Which I think this is something that you and me, Tim, had talked about before when NXT was going like head to head with AEW.
Yeah, I mean, we used to. What's the word? The phrase? We used to fantasy book stuff like this all the time. Just the what if saga, basically. Like, what if this happened, and then this happened, and now look, here we are. It's been a few years, and we're really starting to get some cool stuff going now.
Adam Cole's a star now. He definitely became more of a star once he got to NXT. So now, he can be the leader of his own group, and where before it was Kenny, now I think those two are probably going to butt heads, while Fish and O'Reilly, are going to end up butting heads with the Young Bucks. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I love how they planted the seeds already, too.
So after that, we had an announcement that on January 5th, there's going to be a rematch for the AEW World Championship, Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page. And that led into an in-ring segment with Adam Page where Danielson actually came out and interrupted. And Jeremy, I'm going to pass this over to you because I think you remember it a little bit more than me.
Yeah, so Danielson interrupted. And I just find it funny that he still comes out of the face tunnel, even though he's he's being a heel, 100% a heel right now. So it's just funny. But yeah, he kind of made the thing about that he was banged up from all the matches that he had. He said he hurt himself kicking all the Dark Order's heads in. That's why he couldn't beat Hangman and Page. And so he said, this time I'm not going to wrestle at all until they have the rematch. So for about another week or two until the January 5th show. So yeah, I was kind of shocked at how fast they're doing it, the rematch, but I get it because they're new. It's the first show of the new year on the new network, at least in the U.S. on TBS.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that Danielson still comes out of the face tunnel. I really have no idea where they're going to go with that. I feel like, what's cool about AEW, because I'm always going off on a little tangent, is just the fact that the fans kind of play along. Like, obviously we all like Bryan Danielson, right? Like, how can you not respect him? But in his role, it's like everybody kind of plays along, like, you know what I mean? Like, the fans are in on it. Like, they know that they're supposed to boo. Even though we all like him and respect him, we all kind of play along. And I think it's just so fun. And I like him as a heel a lot.
The fans are like a character.
I really think so. I mean, I think the AEW audience in particular, very similar to the old school ECW arena audience, make the show. And I really do think that there's also a segment of people who actually fly around and go to these different shows. The super fans, which, God, that's got to be awesome. I always wish I could do something like that. But the fans are like an extra character, I swear. We really saw over the pandemic when they're not there how much of a difference that it makes. I mean, it made some of it unwatchable, to be honest.
Yeah, it was some rough couple months.
It was awful.
Oh, you didn't like the Matt Hardy teleporter through the crowd?
And even then, I really liked Matt Hardy, but yeah.
You know what my least favorite feud would be?
Yeah.
If
It was
Shawn
too
Spears,
mystical for me.
if Shawn Spears and Matt Hardy had a feud, that might actually get me to change the channel.
Alrighty, so then we had a backstage segment with the Pinnacle in, I guess, their locker room or whatever. And this has kind of been a slow build, but there seems to be, they're showing more tension between MJF and Wardlow. I think it's a little bit of that long-term storytelling they got going on. But while they're back, they're talking about their match tonight, which is the main event. It's MJF and FTR versus CM Punk, Darby Allin, and Sting, which we'll get into later on. But yeah, so Wardlow and MJF, I think it's only a matter of time before they butt heads.
Really feeling Wardlow recently. Like, I know he has all these squash matches, but they're just fun to watch. And I don't know, for some reason, he's a really entertaining person that is power bombing everyone. I don't know, just something the way he does it.
Well, that leads into this match, which was our next segment. It was Wardlow versus Captain Shawn Dean. And he did 4 power bombs in a row. Made quick work of him. Your winner was Wardlow. And then at the end, Shawn Spears hits Dean, who's been down from 4 power bombs with a chair. Almost to be like, see, I did something. Kind of thing.
I know, Tim, you don't like him at all, but Shawn Spears, I find, like, in this role, he's, like, kind of funny to me.
So I know
he's like their Brandon Cutler.
I've realized what they're doing. So basically, Wardlow's going to keep destroying these guys, right? And then Shawn Spears is going to keep interrupting it, and it's going to lead into. I'm sorry if you're one of these people who would rather just watch, but watching for so long, I can see the pattern of how this is going to go. So he's either going to turn on Wardlow's going to turn on Shawn Spears for stealing his thunder, basically. And then that is going to lead to the Wardlow MJF feud eventually down the road. Spoiler alert. If you don't think that's where they're going, I think you're crazy, but that's where all this is going.
Well, after that, we had a video package for next week's for the upcoming Rampage, Sammy Guevara versus Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship. This led into a promo from Dan Lambert and the Men of the Year. This is where Dan Lambert talked about how Tony Khan asked him, or wants him to be used in order to get fans to, quote-unquote, like Cody. And then throughout the segment, he also says that either Scorpio Sky or Ethan Page will face the winner for the TNT Championship. So, if you don't like the Men of the Year, well, you're going to get more of them.
It's going to be a tough next month or so for you.
Yeah, God. And we'll get into the winner of that match later on. But, yeah, so, if I want to entertain a match, I think I'm going to go, wrestle-wise, I think I'm going to go with Scorpio Sky. That's just me.
Oh,
not really
we're
big
hard
Ethan
on
Page
Scorpio
fan.
Sky. We're hard on the Dan Lambert guys, the Ethan Page and the Scorpio Skies. What sucks is we joke around on the show, but Scorpio Sky should have been a stud. You know what I mean? Like
In the beginning of AEW, he was really...
Right. In the beginning, he was booked great. He was one of their singles competitors. Didn't do a lot of mic work. Still don't... He's gotten better. But I think it's unfortunate that this is the role that he has to play right now. But I also think he's super talented, and this is just a phase in his career. I think Scorpio Sky will bounce back into a cooler singles career eventually.
All right. After that, we had a backstage segment with Britt Baker, which led into a really cool video package for Owen Hart. Because they have the Owen Hart tournament, men and women's tournament, coming up here soon, and this video package was really cool. You had people like Adam Cole and Matt Hardy, Mark Henry. If anyone else can think of anyone else that was in the video, but they were all talking about what Owen meant to them, watching him or knowing him throughout the year. Dustin Rhodes talked about Owen as well. I thought it was a really cool tribute and done really well.
Yeah, I love how AEW does these tribute videos. It's just something about the way that they do it, and I don't know, it's just, there's no angle to any of it. It's just, honoring this person. So that's, just, I just find that really cool from them.
Well, speaking of tributes, as of today that we're recording, was the passing of, it's been a year since the passing of Brody Lee.
That's right. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Brody.
And that was, one of the best tribute shows I think I've ever seen.
Not to mention, the show, that the entire show they did dedicated to him. Which I think they did this year, too. I think it's...
Yeah, they did the Rochester show for him, because that's his hometown.
Brody Lee's wife, I believe her name's Amanda Huber, I saw on Twitter, because I run the social medias for the podcast. Somebody had tweeted at her that they offered to buy her kids gifts for the holidays, and she said, that's very sweet of you, but my boys are very fortunate, which I'm sure they are, between their father, and then I really think Tony Khan probably takes good care of them, and she has a job with them now too, which is awesome. But she said, if you'd like to buy toys for kids, and then she posted some links to some charitable foundations, and I was like, you know what, that's just a cool family. Rest in peace, Brody Lee, and you're definitely missed by the wrestling world. It's a shame that you're gone.
So then that led, after the Owen Hart video package, it led us into a TBS Championship semifinals match, Nyla Rose versus Ruby Soho. Your winner was Ruby Soho, and she will face the winner of Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill in the finals.
Glad that Ruby won.
So far, my picks are going through, which is Jade Cargill and Ruby. We'll see if Jade, goes all the way, or we're going to see Thunder Rosa versus Ruby Soho.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that they're doing Thunder Rosa versus Ruby Soho. I don't know. And then I feel like Ruby is gonna get the win because they're doing Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker pretty soon. So I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's the match right there. That's what we need to see.
So after that, yeah. So after that, we had a video from Serena Deeb. If you want to talk about never-ending feuds, this was about her and Hikaru Shida again. And Serena Deeb was pretty much saying she's just going to keep coming back until she, I guess beats Hikaru Shida senseless in a way. Like, I don't know what she wants out of this.
It's going to be their fourth match if they have a match.
Yeah.
It's like this and then Matt Hardy and Orange Cassidy.
Every time you think it's
never
done,
end.
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about Matt Hardy versus, God, who'd you mention? Oh, Sean Spears. Yeah, how about Matt Hardy and Orange Cassidy?
I can't. Moving on.
Moving on. So then we had Malachi Black versus Griff Garrison of Varsity Blondes.
Griff Garrison's his name, by the way.
Yeah.
the other blonde.
Yeah. Now I
Yeah,
know.
that we could. Gosh, that name
winner
is
was
awful.
I was like, dude, I'm sorry, man. I don't know your name, but yeah. So Griff Garrison, getting revenge for the random black mist to Julia Hart's face. Malachi Black won by submission. Afterwards, Pillman Jr. goes after Malachi, I think because Black wasn't releasing even after the bell rang. But what do you know? Black does a black mass to Pillman, and takes
I have
them
no
out.
idea where this is going.
No, and I'm hoping it doesn't go anywhere. I'm hoping it just he gets into something else.
Yeah.
Then we had Matt Hardy and Private Party backstage, and after that led to Jurassic Express and Christian Cage backstage. Both teams were talking about the upcoming match between Isaiah Cassidy of Private Party versus Jungle Boy from this coming Rampage. But the main event of the show was FTR and MJF teaming up to face Sting, Darby Allin, and CM Punk.
So
Sting comes out wearing CM Punk inspired face paint, has like the red lightning bolts, and did he have the fists on it somewhere? I don't remember.
Fists on his forehead.
Okay. Punk's wearing old school Sting face paint
awesome.
and old school Sting bottoms. The long, just plain black tights with just a white scorpion on the side, and maybe red boots if I'm not mistaken. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. And then half of Darby's face is a pink version of the Crow Sting face paint.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. But in the end, Punk did a GTS, Sting did a Scorpion Death Drop, and Darby Allin did a Coffin Drop to Dax Hardwood, where your winners were CM Punk, Darby Allin, and Sting. I thought this was a really cool match.
I just want to say,
I don't know why they did all this
school.
tribute stuff, but I really liked it.
This is old school pro wrestling. They had the war paint on. Like, this is very WCW, late 80s, early 90s. Super cool tribute. I'm a big figure collector. Once we start doing video, I hope that you guys will be able to see some of my collection in the background. But apparently, Jazzwares, who makes the AEW figures, has already been talking about doing a 3-pack of all three of those guys wearing the paint, and I was like, oh man, I'm getting that if that comes out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, I'm definitely getting that if that comes out. So that's some cool stuff. But yeah, this was old school pro wrestling. I thought, because I'm sure you guys have read it too, and I'm sure some of our listeners have. Sting did an interview where he has great respect for Punk, says that the pops that he get is very reminiscent of the Road Warrior pops, which is a huge compliment. And if you're not an old school wrestling fan or understand what that means, is basically Animal from the Road Warriors in the locker room used to say, so-and-so gets a big pop, but they don't get a Road Warrior pop. And and he said that's what CM Punk gets as a Road Warrior pop. So basically a pop, and if you don't know, if you're a casual fan listening, the pop is when the crowd explodes and reacts and cheers. And I feel like sometimes we forget that we might have people that listen that don't know what some of that insider lingo is. So basically, he just was saying that the reaction that CM Punk gets is admirable and very cool to see. And I just thought the fact that these two legendary wrestlers have great respect for each other is super cool. Totally different eras. Very cool.
I liked one of the stories that they were telling during this match was, I don't think it ever came to pass, if I'm mistaken, correct me guys, but they were trying to keep MJF away from CM Punk. I don't know if they ever touched in the match.
Yeah, they never touched, which I thought was a really cool part. Like, that's definitely an old school part with, like, Jim Ross always makes the point of saying, you know, if the two wrestlers never touched until the match, then it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I felt that was, like, definitely Punk's doing.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. That wraps up Dynamite, though. This is a longer show, guys, because tonight we're recording on a Sunday, so it'll be out Monday. So because of that, we're going to cover the SmackDown after Dynamite and the Rampage as well.
And I just want to add in, since Andy brought that up, that our episodes will start being released on Mondays. We actually, in the past, the first 15 episodes, we would work our regular jobs and then record after our regular jobs. So if we ever sounded tired or maybe not as fiery as usual, it's because we're coming from our regular career jobs. So we thought recording it on a Sunday where we had the day off and we could be refreshed, it's just going to be better for the show and all around. And so be on the lookout for new episodes dropping on Mondays from here on out. Still available on all your favorite streaming platforms.
And I think it also, made sense that to cover stuff Monday to Friday instead of Friday to Wednesday.
It's just going to work better.
Chronologically, it also made sense, I felt like.
It's just going to work better all around. I mean, I want to be transparent with our audience, and I think being personable is something that people like. So, I mean, the only reason we were doing it on that particular night is I have a child, and I was working late on those nights, and it just seemed to be the best night that fit. But we're going to make these Sunday night recordings and these Monday drops work out from here on out. So what do you got next for us, Andy?
All right, so yeah, that being said, this past SmackDown from Christmas Eve opened up with kind of the fallout of what happened with Paul Heyman getting fired. I believe it was Caleb Braxton interviewing Paul Heyman, and, it looked like he hadn't shaved, like he was disheveled and emotional. And by the end of the interview, he starts to, says something along the lines of maybe he needs to figure out his career or what he's going to do with the rest of his career or life or whatnot. And so it opens up the show that way, makes you kind of question, like, okay, is Paul Heyman retiring? What are they trying to do with him? And then towards the end of the night, before the main event, they have a big, video tribute package to Paul Heyman and his whole career, starting from him doing announcing and whatnot to him owning ECW, coming into WWE. Nice, coming into WWE, and then his time with Brock during Brock's first run, and then ending with Brock's second run, and then Roman and all that. So, what's the future of Paul Heyman, I think, is kind of what they're trying to get at and trying to make the fans think. But yeah, Jeremy, it was a nice touch, and I wonder, where he will play or what side he'll be on, if any side, for the upcoming Roman and Brock matches, because I believe their program's supposed to continue after day one, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
yeah. Do you think it's going to be a thing? Because when is there the next match, Brock and Roman?
It's day one.
Day one? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a thing where you don't see Heyman until it's, towards the end of the match. And then it's going to be, he has to pick a side.
Regardless of the future of Paul Heyman, he is, without a doubt, in a class of manager that very few people ever get to. I would say, for me now, being a wrestling history guy, the best three ringside managers of all time, and they could be changed in order depending on what generation you're from, is Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jim Cornette, and Paul Heyman. And for me to say that Paul Heyman is in that class of talent is probably, like, as a fan, like the best compliment I can give him, because the two other guys I mentioned are renowned for just everything, and Paul Heyman's an amazing talker. I loved his last run. If he doesn't do anything else from after this WrestleMania, and that was kind of the end for him, like, man, what a career. Paul Heyman is the man. So I'm a Paul Heyman guy, and I'm sure some of our listeners are too.
One other thing from SmackDown that I kind of forgot about until now was there's a new number one contender for Shinsuke Nakamura's Intercontinental title, and that is Sami Zayn. He won a gauntlet match. And at first I was like, okay, I mean, this will be cool. You know, I do like Sami Zayn, but then I thought back to Sami's final NXT match, and it was amazing, and it was against Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know if you remember that, Tim or Jeremy, but they had an awesome match. Shinsuke had just gotten there pretty much.
That was his debut match.
Yeah, and it was Sami's last. So if they can step it up to that level again, you could have a really good match. Hopefully they get the time to do it.
Best of the Black and Gold brand right here. I think I got that match right on here, man.
So for the listeners, that is a DVD that Tim is holding up right now to the camera.
I'm an old man.
And that match is on there, you said?
Yeah, I still like the physical format.
Tim still has VHS. This is all right.
I do have one VHS of wrestling.
All right. So our final segment, we'll talk about Rampage. Thought there was two things. All these shows, I'm like, besides Dynamite, I'm like, there's two things to talk about. I just realized that this entire podcast. So Rampage, I want to talk about Hook. Hook was sent for a second time.
Sand Hook.
He had his second match. He had his second match versus Bear Bronson of Bear Country. And Hook won. I thought just another great outing for him, man. I'm a big Hook fan. He lifted this big dude, like, tossing him around.
They're handling this debut amazingly. Like, both of these matches and debuts for him have been amazing. And the crowd is, like, 100% behind him already.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as nothing really happens at first. His screen's black, and then once the music really kicks in, it's just says Hook on it. But when that build up, man, the crowd is hyped. They really are so into him.
I love his music too. It's like it's an Action Bronson song, and then it's just a spotlight on him and just says Hook on the screen. Like, perfect.
And then he gets in the ring, he turns around, doesn't, gives the disrespect to the opponent. I thought it was great, man. Future star. I can't wait.
He's 22 years old.
He's going to kill it.
Wrestling Twitter, being Wrestling Twitter, is freaking out. I don't know if any of you guys saw, because he no-sold a pile driver. You guys,
I did watch in the match. I was like, oh, people are going to hate this.
Yeah.
And people were like, I never want to see anything like this again. Like, acting like it's the most egregious offense.
Honestly, I wasn't a
ever.
fan of it, but...
Okay, but this is coming... hang on. Wait. This is coming from the same people that
I didn't like it, but I liked it. It's weird.
But when this is coming from the same people who, after the Bucks do 500 super kicks and the guy gets back up. Like, I'm like, come on, guys. Like, he could have sold it like an extra few seconds.
No, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I like the no selling like that. Just for like like one move in a match, and that's it. I don't.
Well, you are the no selling indie fan.
It's a tribute. It was a tribute to his dad. It was a tribute to his dad, because there's a match where Taz did the same exact thing, and they played the clips side by side, and like.
Well, see, if they knew that, maybe they would understand it a little bit more.
I just saw these people. I hope I never see anything like this ever again. I was like, oh my god.
Tim, you need to give history lessons on this.
Yes. Check out our new podcast coming, Wrestling History 101 with Tim.
Everything you need to know to understand it.
It'll help you
So that you don't get mad by what's being done.
Yeah. I'm gonna call it the bitter old wrestling podcast.
So our main event of the show, it was Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship. Right beforehand, like every Rampage main event, there was Mark Henry talking to them virtually on the screen. Sammy said something that he's happy that Cody's angry, and then Arn's like, most people call me Mr. Anderson or some shit like that.
I was like, did you just watch The Matrix or something?
That's what I thought instantly was that.
Yeah.
And what Arn said something like, if Cody's not angry after all the hell he's put him through these past couple months or whatever.
Yeah, staying outside in the backyard with fires and stuff,
being weird. But then he says something. Sammy says something like it should be an honor for him to be in the ring with Cody, or basically something like that. And he's like, no, it should be, an honor for you to be in the ring with me, something like that.
Because he's the champion as well. Yeah.
And then Cody gets you see him get a little bit mad, but I think we were all surprised with this ending. They took the belt off of Sammy. They gave it back to Cody
on
Rhodes.
Christmas.
You want someone to get even more heat? That's the way to do it. People already hate Cody Rhodes. People love Sammy.
Yeah, Cody knows what he's doing.
What you guys think of the match, though? And then, what you guys think of the title change?
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
I liked the match. I thought it was a really good match. You didn't like the match?
No, I liked the match. I didn't like the title change.
Oh. Yeah.
I was like, dude, my boy. I was like, Triple H vibes coming in. just burying my
I
man.
thought he was doing a pedigree for a second.
I did too. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna beat him with a pedigree.
Oh, when he wrapped his arms up, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, he did the pile driver instead.
Yeah. Yeah, after I saw he did 2 crossroads and then that, I was like, oh.
He did 3 crossroads and then
buried him.
Just destroyed him.
3.
Yeah, people getting mad about Hook getting up. If Sammy had gotten up after that, I think there would have been a problem.
Well, when he did like 3 of them, I was like,
that was way too fast for Sammy.
Yeah, Sammy was over, man. That was weird.
Well, I wonder what they'll do with him. Either keep the feud going or see what they have set up.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Redeemer's coming back, guys, so.
Yeah. I don't know. He's going to get cheered if he goes against Cody.
Mirror said, "You punishing me and I can't see my flexible hot wife." I was like, oh.
You can't even have sex with my hot wife.
It's like, everyone's like, all right, we get it.
She's so flexible. You don't even know.
So yeah, I don't know what their plans with Cody now, but it's clearly to wrestle one of the men of the year, whether it's Scorpio Sky or Ethan Page. But I guess we're just gonna have to see where it goes.
They're gonna get cheered.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that.
Even them.
Well, guys, that about wraps up the show. I just wanted to say, with the new year coming in, thank you all so much. You've gotten us over 1,500 plays this year, and we've only been a podcast for a few months. We got the shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees, and we couldn't have done any of this stuff without the people that have supported us and listened to our show and actually made it worth our while to do this every week. So thank you so much. Just want to do a couple shout-outs from people over the year who really supported us. Actually, I called them out last week, but I said their name wrong. Not Suki and Pops, it's Zuri and Pops. And they are always very supportive of us on social media. Stu World Order, SWO Productions, he's a fellow podcaster. Please go check him out. And he's always been good to us throughout the year. He retweets everything we put out. He recommends our show to people, and he has a bigger following than we do. So thank you so much, Stu, for doing that for us. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the PW Fan. And if you can, please go to Andy's Funko Pop Collection on page. And if you can, go to Andy's Funko Pop Collection page on Instagram at the 410 Fan Bros. And please like and subscribe to the PW Fan on YouTube, where we have full episodes available. Thanks again for listening, and join us next week on the PW Fan Podcast, where we talk all things pro wrestling. Bye-bye, everybody.